This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. Well, Leicester City, Sheffield United this weekend. We've got a history of getting opposition managers sacked. I think we've actually done it twice to Mourinho, having played us, having lost, got sacked. But I think this is the first, even for Leicester. I've never known us be able to get rid of a manager before we've actually played them. And that seems to be what's happened. Let's find out in a second what a Sheffield United fan thinks about it. This is the preview show, and you're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
You are watching and listening to the preview show on Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums.
Indeed you are, and we are available on YouTube on Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us a quick subscribe. We would like to get those numbers up. On Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, and on Twitter and Periscope at Leicester TID. Going to bring, a couple of people in, and we'll start off with talking about Sheffield United. And you may remember this guy from our first meeting earlier on in the season. I want to say welcome back to Jeff. Good evening, Jeff. I won't ask how you are because you're probably not very, very good at the moment.
No. As you can see, I've taken to drink. It's Moretti.
Don't blame me. And talking of taking to drink, we'll welcome in my normal preview chat chum, Craig. Good evening. Have you got your normal pina colada, Craig?
Hello. No, we're on the water. We're on the water. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
You need to ask.
Jeff, Jeff very kindly did the opposition view show on the website version, leicestertillidie.com, and one of the questions that I asked on there was how happy are you with your manager? And your actual quote was, we'll be promoted with him next year. And speaking to Rob last night, he loves Chris Wilder as well. He walked though, didn't he? He wasn't sacked.
Correct. My understanding is that he's had a fallout with our owners. I was looking on our own website, and obviously it's aflame with comments. And I think 95%. There's a poll going on, and 95% back Chris Wilder. But that's not down to us. I think his pride has got the better of him, and he's decided to go. Whether he was pushed, I don't know, but I think he just couldn't get on with our owner. But Chris Wilder, we'd have him back in a heartbeat. We don't want to end up with Pulis or bloody Pearson or Cardew or even Frank Lampard.
Don't knock Pearson. I know he's a Wednesday guy, but don't knock Pearson. He'd probably do you all right, wouldn't he, Craig?
Yeah, he'd do a good job. I got to say, I think Wilder's not only a loss to Sheffield United, but he's a loss to the Premier League. It was nice to see a manager come out and actually talk like a fan, and not have any of this.
He's a fan of Sheffield United. Yeah. He was a ball boy. He played for the team, and he managed us at a time when we had a Sheffield United fan owned it, and Billy Sharp was our captain. So throughout the club, we had and it formed a massive bond with the fans. The fans were absolutely behind the team. I've never known anything like it. We've always been loyal, but we've always been crap. But we thought we were onto something, really, and I can't see anybody capturing the same sort of feeling that we had when Wilder was here. You've got to remember when he took over, we were bottom of the first division, and we've had 5 great years. Granted, this year's been poor, but it's been a crap year for everybody, really, because of the lack of crowds and things like that.
Yeah.
But we as fans don't want it to go. Still don't.
No. Max, just to let you know, if you're on Facebook, you need to click on the link that's in the link that I posted. There's a link to StreamYard, and then it will pick up your Facebook details. Otherwise, you will just come up as Facebook user. Another Facebook user here, don't know if this is Max or not, saying I thought Wilder was unsackable, but he as I say, we should make it clear he has walked. He hasn't been sacked. But speaking to Rob yesterday, there obviously was not necessarily bad feeling, but there was difference of opinion, shall we say, between himself and the owners.
And we knew that, but we always thought our owner knew which side his bread was buttered, and he'd never get anybody better. I was chatting to my notoriety expanded to go on the Manchester United pre-match warm-up, and I said to them at the time, I said, and they were great. They were very polite to me, but they were Manchester United, and I said, well, Wilder's a better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I said, you do worse than have Chris Wilder as your manager, because they were moaning about it, and they couldn't get their heads around that. That I might suggest something to Manchester United fans that that our manager was better than us, and I sincerely do believe that he's a better manager than Solskjaer, and we're going to miss him. So my feelings are clear, aren't they?
Yes, I think we can see those. You're not one to mask your feelings there, Jeff. I think I don't know if you'll agree with me, Craig, that a manager. I how can I word this properly? I respect a manager more like a Chris Wilder that comes up with a club like Sheffield United and does it over somebody like a Jose Mourinho who can only do it when he buys those, those sort of players in. Chris Wilder could go to Southampton. He could go to Southampton. No, he couldn't. He could go to where is Mourinho now? Tottenham, isn't it? He could go to Tottenham, Craig. He could go to Tottenham and manage Tottenham. Could Mourinho go to Sheffield United and manage Sheffield United?
No.
I think we've always said that, haven't we? That there's the so-called top managers never put themselves in a position where they have to prove themselves as managers with a lesser budget. Chris Wilder did it his way. He put that team together in the lower leagues, and he gave them the opportunity to play in the Premier League. It was probably getting to that point where, he was getting to that point where he needed to freshen it up, and that's probably where some of the problems have come in terms of a transfer budget or transfer targets for next year.
In fairness, one thing Wilder hasn't done very well is buy this year or over the last 2 seasons. We came up with basically a first division team, but they were playing above themselves and out of skins. And he spent money by our standards, but nobody has paid off. Sanderberg is going to be brilliant. We're going to sell him when we get relegated and make a massive profit on him. But he's been injured for 10 games, so that's he's going to be a success. But the others, Brewster, has played 18 games and hasn't scored for us. He will score on Sunday, incidentally.
If a player hasn't scored for 20 odd games, they will score against Leicester.
But all of the ones he's bought, Ollie Burke, who's blistering pace, it's frightening. But he's brainless. He has no idea at all. And he's going to score probably on Sunday. And McBurney will score for us on Sunday as well. So 3-0, and the three misfits will notch. Just when they should have been doing it all season for Wilder, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
They'll suddenly come good. That's my prediction.
I mean,
such is the Vegas.
Such is football, isn't it? Really. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that 2 points there was that it is that second season syndrome, and I always feel a bit funny when I say that, because obviously of what we did in our second season. But if you look at a lot of the promoted clubs, they come up like the Blackpools, who were top of the league, top of the Premier League at one point. The following season, Craig, they went down. A lot of clubs do struggle in the second season. But what Rob said yesterday was and it was his recruitment isn't good, and it looks like the recruitment's been taken out of Chris Wilder's hands. But as a manager, surely, you walk high or crawl on your belly on results. And if you're not having the choice to bring the players in, it's gonna be a bit of a bugger if you stack the poor results.
But the other thing is that we can't afford to pay. It would be fantastic. Much as I hate Vardy, if he played for us, I'd love him. I would love him, but we can't afford him. His salary would be too much for us, and we have to pay and purchase according to our means, and that's where we are as a team. And you have to be in the Premier League for a decade before you can sort of afford the money that you need to. You need to be competitive. Now we existed on 110% fitness and team spirit and the backing of the crowd. This year, obviously, the crowd's not been there, and the team spirit. We've lost a couple of games, and that went nosedived, and we couldn't score. And everything. You'll have gone through this earlier with Rob. Injuries cost us. Our bedrock was the back five, and we lost four of them. Henderson went back, and the three central defenders have been injured. And that's what caused us not to ship goals. Now we ship the odd goal, but we can't score, and we couldn't score last year.
Craig, I'm going to ask you, because a few people have said here... Oh, sorry, Craig, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, there's a couple of things on the back of that. I was at the Sheffield United game, the first game of the season, when you came up, and I think we won 2-1 with the late Harvey Barnes goal. But you can't underestimate how important the crowd were. I mean, on that day we won it late, but the crowd was so noisy. They were fantastic. I got to say that. But also, I'm surprised at how little pitch time early on in the season Ryan Brewster got. I think when you've got a young player like that who's clearly got a talent, he needs a run of games, and it seems strange that he didn't get a run of games. He was in and out, or he was playing for 15 minutes and then he was out. It seems strange to me in a team that couldn't...
I don't think he's played 90 minutes, and he doesn't deserve to, really. He's not Premier League standard yet. He was okay for Swansea last year, scored 19 goals, I think, but from what... we don't play him right. That's probably the other conclusion, is that he doesn't fit our system. But he's not shown excessive pace or sniping abilities. I mean, Billy Sharp has no pace anymore, but you still wouldn't back against him scoring. If it gets to him in the box, he's going to hit the target and score. But Brewster doesn't look like doing that at the moment. And that's not to say he isn't going to come good. And when we go down, and if he stays with us, I think he will. I think he'll rediscover his confidence and form, and we'll be playing a different system with a different guy, and it may well change.
Craig, I was going to ask you this before, Craig, but a few people are saying there about the new manager bounce, etc. But I can't see that
Oh,
being
I
a
do
problem
hope so.
at the weekend because they haven't got a new manager yet, have they?
No, I can't remember. Somebody's taking charge of team affairs. I assume Alan Nill has departed with Wilder, and I don't know who's taking charge of team affairs. But I'm really hoping that the new manager syndrome or playing for the manager will come good on Sunday.
I
think most opposing fans like Leicester would be my view.
Yeah,
I think there's as much chance of the players being in shock. You know, I'm sure they didn't see it coming. So I would imagine they're going to be in as much shock as every Sheffield United fan, and I'm hoping just for the one day that shows itself on the pitch, and there's a bit of a lack of, okay, what do we do now about them?
Yeah, that's probable. My impression was that he moulded a team spirit, which was commented on by most other opposing fans. How they knew the players knew their jobs, they fought hard for each other, and that was down to Wilder. Now, whether they can do that without him, I doubt. You're right. I'm just clutching at straws here. Help me.
Jeff, I'm going to let you go because we're going to go on and talk about all Leicester now for the weekend. Unfortunately,
you're really interested anyway, are you?
Unfortunately, I think you are going to go down this season, and there's no way of sugarcoating it. But I do hope that you get a good manager, you come straight back up, because I love to see clubs like Sheffield United and what have you, and Fulham's in the Premier League. So. Yeah. Good luck to you for next season.
Thanks for having me on again. And
thanks for coming on and taking it when something like that has just happened today. Enjoy your beer.
Yes.
Cheers, Jeff.
There we go, Moretti.
Yay! He's got them lined up. up. All the best, and hopefully see you in a couple of seasons.
Yeah. Take care, Chris.
Yeah.
See you, Craig.
Cheers, Jeff. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Jeff.
Oh, so thanks very much to Jamie. Nice of him to come on and take it, wasn't it, Craig?
Yeah. I mean, it's he was such a big part of that club, and he reflected the fans. As Jeff said, that he was a fan, and the fans basically had a voice in the dugout, and it's going to be really interesting to see what route they go down now. When you've got foreign owners, they tend to want a marquee. They want marquee signings. Yeah. They want a marquee manager in the dugout. I'm not sure that's going to work at Sheffield United and how well, the fans will take that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he tries to do. There'd be a better proposition. Sorry, Chris. There'd be a much better proposition if they'd managed to stay up. Obviously, but. Because you could say, somebody like a Frank Lampard or whatever may have been fantastic in a club like Sheffield United, but I can't see them attracting anybody of that ilk at the minute. So it'll be interesting. And as I say, from a fan's point of view,
how many times have you seen a club? Yeah, how many times have you seen a club drop a league to regroup and come back up? I mean, I think with Watford. Not getting to the final that season and possibly getting up gave us another season to prepare in the second tier, and I think that it was good for us when we finally came up. But that last point on Chris Wilder, and I think Jeff had more than just the one beer, to be honest with you. We're talking to then, possibly. But do you think Chris Wilder and somebody mentioned this earlier, and I couldn't get it in when we were talking with Jeff, but had Chris Wilder probably taken them as far as he could?
Potentially, but I think the thing is we weren't sure what was happening there this year. I mean, I know the pundits. I'm not a big fan of the pundits on most soccer programs, to be honest, but a lot of them were pointing out things that they seem to have changed. They all were trying to change the way they played. They were a little bit less up and at them, and they were getting the ball wide and not not putting it in the box this season as they were last season. So whether that's the players saying that we want to play a bit more football, or whether it's Chris Wilder trying to slowly change the way they play, I'm not sure. I think the difficulty is going to be picking a manager that's got to work with the same players that Chris Wilder would have wanted to work with. So you've got to have unless you can turn those players into a footballing side, you've got to have a manager come in who can get the best out of the players that are already there.
Indeed.
There may be 2 or 3 managers in the lower leagues that will do the job, but I'm not sure. None really spring to mind, I must admit. Although I tell you who would be a good bet for them, and Neil Lennon, for me, would be the type of guy who could get a team like that up and at him again. I do like Neil. And
the reason I'm laughing there is because I don't rate Neil as a manager. I believe he's got a in your face sort of attitude. He's like old style, shouting at players, which I don't think works today. But I can remember when we got Claudio, everybody was screaming, "We want Neil Lennon, get Neil Lennon down." He's the next Leicester, he knows the club. And I used to say, all he's done is manage in Scotland. Anybody can do that. And here I am, X years later, going, "Hey, we've got Brendan Rodgers." Great. But anyway, we've got the match on Sunday. It is 2:00 at the King Power. Not that that makes a lot of difference this season. It's on Sky Sports if you have that platform. It's on BBC Radio 5 Live and lcfc.com radio, as well as local BBC Radio Leicester. And you're joining us to that news that, he's pointing at it. Chris Wilder has gone. Will it make a difference? I mean, I said in last night's show, we are playing the bottom team. We are third. Fox Blades are 20th. One word to you about that, Craig. Fulham.
Yeah. I think we...
you can only say that back, couldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think what you've got to say is that we were the catalysts for Fulham's improvement, because they haven't really looked back since they played us. But I think, just a slight aside, I think Scott Parker's probably got a bit more variation in him than Chris Wilder has as a manager. So, we definitely can't take them lightly, and we don't know how they're going to react. We don't know what the players are going to be like. If there was a new manager in, then yes, you end up seeing that little bit of a bounce because people are playing for contracts. They're playing to impress a new manager. My understanding is that it's one of the backroom staff who's going to be looking after the team on for our games. So, and we've seen this before when backroom managers step up to the main role. It's not really a change of voice. It's the same old droning. So there's not really going to be any new ideas or time even for him to put new ideas across. So it's going to be picking a team and just sending them out. So I don't think we have any excuses for not winning this game.
Excuse me. And I think with Sheffield United, they're at that point where I think I have seen this with Leicester is once the club is actually officially relegated, then that's off your shoulders. That weight is lifted off your shoulders, and you go out and you actually play better because there's no pressure. There's no, you're down, so you might as well just go out and enjoy it. At the moment, there's still that pressure on them, and it is, there's no two ways of looking at it. And quick mention here to Andy, who says he doesn't like to wait a whole week between games. We do. We love it. We only have to do half the shows. But, there's no two ways of looking at it. They have been absolutely awful. And I think the fact that they've dropped so much is the surprise. And I did actually thank Sheffield United fan Rob last night because they have actually got to 14 points, which means Derby still hold the record for having the least number of points and going down. So well done, Sheffield United. But we mustn't forget they've beaten Man United.
Yeah, they did, and I think Jeff made a fair point of the fact that they had their back line ripped out. I'm not sure if any other Premier League teams have had their centre halves decimated this season. I can't think of any who may have mentioned it. But it seems like Sheffield United have sort of slipped under the radar in terms of, yeah. But I think
just saying, Leicester, we had a bit of a problem with that.
We don't mention it either. We haven't used that excuse, but they have had that back line ripped apart, and it was the basis of their success last season. And I think they just got a little bit lost, and it's really difficult in this. Particularly in this season, without the fans, if you get off to a bad start, you can't have the fans. The fans work both ways, don't they? If you're playing crap, then they'll get on your back and they'll urge you on to do better. But I do recall that atmosphere at Sheffield United at Bramall Lane, and it was fantastic, to be honest. And they were as much of a part of their success last season as their absence has been a reason for their lack of success this season, I think.
And I'm not just saying that this was the only reason that we managed the Great Escape, but of course, the atmosphere that adding the Clappers gave to the King Power, I mean, it's something obviously we've carried on. It's been that successful, but I think it is always hard in the second season. I mean, we kind of broke the mold, and I think that was the exception more than the norm. How well we've done, although Villa are kind of replicating it not quite as well. But it's really difficult because you've stayed up, but you've got to spend the money, haven't you? And it was interesting to say that the two Sheffield United fans, one of them was saying he wasn't given the money to go out and bolster the squad, and the other one was saying he did buy some players in, but they just weren't good enough.
I think the thing is, if you're coming into a team like Sheffield United, they play in such a different way to virtually every other club. He had his own style of playing, Chris Wilder, and I don't think it's necessarily a team that's easy for players to come in and settle into. We saw that with Ryan Brewster. I know he said he didn't look like he was ever going to score, but if you're not on the pitch, you're never going to score. So there was something clearly going on behind the scenes that these players that he'd brought in never really had an impact on the team. So I think it takes time to fit into a team like Sheffield United, and they clearly, with the balance of players that they lost, they had to thrust these players in, and it's just not worked for them. But it shows you how difficult it is when the way you play is so attuned to a specific manager, and I'm not sure where they're going to go from here. It's really, really interesting. But as I said, we have no excuse. We have no excuse for not putting on a show and getting the 3 points.
Yeah, and very similar to us against Sheffield United. We had the band of brothers. They've got that sort of togetherness about the squad, but at the end of the day, you can be together and you can have the most fantastic team spirit at all, but you've still got to go out and win the games, and they just haven't done that this season.
Yeah, I think it gets you so far. I think it probably got you further in previous years. When there were more teams that weren't playing, good attractive football. And I think it's fair to say, I don't think teams like Sheffield United benefit now from how unphysical the game is these days as well. I think that has to be taken into account, that you're probably seeing the end of physical teams being successful because you just don't get an opportunity now. Every little touch is a player falling down on the ground, like he's died. And I don't think the Premier League suits teams of the ilk of Sheffield United. I don't mean that in any detrimental way. I just think it's a matter of fact that they were an aggressive team who played on the front foot, and it's almost being taken out of the game.
You made the point earlier, and it is a very good point, is yeah, we can say all this about Sheffield United and what they're going through. There will be no excuse, and we've not been playing particularly brilliantly. You know, we won 2-1, but you know that came out of the blue. You know, scoring a goal from a corner was the first shock. There will be no excuse. I mean, you know, we've only met Sheffield United 3 times in the Premier League. We've never been in at the same time. 2-1 to us, 2-0 to us, 2-1 to us. And, you know, we've got to remember in the last game, yes, we won it, but only by a Jamie Vardy goal in the 91st, 92nd minute, whatever it was. We got 2 goals and we got a corner flag. But it wasn't, you know, it was, when you look back at that, it could have easily ended 1-1.
It's funny, isn't it? It's one of quite a few not particularly inspiring performances where we've come away with the points. I think Brighton, excuse me, Brighton is probably a similar game. We're not playing that well at the moment, but we did say this a couple of weeks ago when we started getting the injuries, that these were a set of games, Burnley, Brighton, Sheffield United, where we would have to grind results out.
Yeah,
we ground out a draw. We managed to grind out a win. You know, we're probably going to have to grind out a win here again. But if we can do that, players are slowly starting to come back, then I think we'll be in a good position. But yeah, we've definitely not been playing that great, and I don't think any real Leicester fan will say that we have been playing well.
I think as well, when you look at the injuries we've had, and you know, it's and I'm, like I said to you many times, I'm a fan, and I get wound up as much as everybody else does, and I look at the performances, and you know, I've not been happy with the performance, and you made the point. Sometimes it's the result that matters, not the performance. But to say that our team has been decimated not once but twice this season, and we're no different to anybody else, but you can't get that free-flowing, you know, fancy football when your team's being changed all the time.
No, you can't. And particularly when you've got a manager who then decides to switch things around and move players around out of position, switches formations. You know, I don't think, you know, at the end of it, we'll look at the results and where we finish at the table, and Brendan will be judged on that. But I think he's got away with a couple in the last few games in terms of his tinkering. You know, at the end of it, I think, you know, because we scored that late goal, it's a very different narrative to all the post-match talk than it would have been if we'd have come away with a draw. So I think that that goalkeeper mistake has basically got Brendan off the hook a little bit on that perspective. Although we did play much better second half, but then he reverted to play people in their right positions.
I mean, would you say, and I know a couple of managers have gone, I mean, let's be honest with you, it wasn't that long ago when Man United wanted Ollie out the door. You know, the chances are they could finish second or third. They're in, you know, the FA Cup quarterfinals. They're in, you know, the last 16 of Europa League. Is it almost like most managers this season? It's almost like, it's that. See, we can't really judge you on this season because, you know, everything's been affected by injuries, and it's almost like a given season for them.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I'm probably being harsh, you know, in complaining a little bit, but then, you know, I'm a Leicester fan, and that's what we do.
Yeah, we do indeed.
I think all managers are probably finding that, you know, even the Pep will probably be turned around at the end of the season and say that this has been his most difficult season of all of them, you know, to deal with what everybody's had to deal with. And we know, you know, it will come down to the size of the squad, and that's why I think, you know, our biggest threat at the minute is clearly Chelsea because of the size of the squad that they've got and the quality of the squad they've got. Even Spurs now are coming with a bit of a run in terms of getting results, and they've got a strong squad as well. So there's no way that we can rest on our laurels. And games like Sheffield United are ones that we just can't afford to not come away with anything other than 3 points.
I mean, you look at the form going into this, and again, you know, we're a bit doomy and gloomy here, as I say, and I'm not saying that I'm not. I've put myself into that. But apart from the Arsenal game, you know, it's 3 wins and a draw in the last 5, and you know, Sheffield United have got that 1-0 against Aston Villa, but they've lost 4. It isn't all doom and gloom down Filbert Way.
No, it's not. And some of the football we play is what you could say a delight at times, and we can look really, really good. I think the issue is that we've got mistakes in us, and most of the time we're getting punished for them. You know, we got away with a bit of an off a VAR decision, turning over their second goal, and we've not probably had the run of it with that. I mean, because we won the game again, I think the Vardy penalty got overlooked. For me, that was a definite penalty. But I think, yeah, you sit back and you look back and you think, yeah, we are still third. We're where a lot of other clubs would like to be, and we're slowly starting to get some players out. What we have seen is other players step up and do a really good job. I mean, fair shout to Amati, you know, that he scored the winner and he was there, and I think I would have had him off the pitch at the time. So it just shows you what a great manager I am.
I've seen your team this week. I know you're not. No, I'm only joking. Talking of that, and like you made the point. I think, you know, we've got to look over our shoulder. You know, we're on 53 there. Chelsea on 50. West Ham on 48. I mean, you know, the pack is backing up behind us. We can't afford slip ups. And like you said, tomorrow, maybe not quite a 6-pointer, but it is a must-win game.
I think the problem is if you start slipping up now and other teams start taking advantage of it, then you put pressure on every other game. You know, the next game becomes a pressure game, whereas now you can afford to, you know, play the football that you want without the pressure, you know, because we're in the box seat, as it were. As soon as it starts getting tight and we start to, you know, if we are in a position where we have to play catch up, then we know the pressure comes with it, and we know that we didn't deal with the pressure very well last season. So, you know, we can't afford to take our foot off the gas, and I think that's probably why, and I'll give Brendan credit, I guess, is why he's being a little bit cautious. I did say the other week that I don't think Brendan is a risk-taking manager. You know, I think he plays it safe, and I think it's almost he's getting to that point where he's trying to protect what he's got, and therefore he's happy to sort of nick victories and keep us in games, because he knows that we do have the quality, especially late in games, to win them. You know, we've got the best record in terms of goals scored in the last 15 minutes in the whole of the Premier League. So I think that's the sort of team ethic or the team tactic that he's almost working on now, is just keep it really tight. If we have to be a little bit defensive, then we're going to be defensive, but we're just going to stay in the game to the last sort of 20 minutes and then try and win it from there.
I mean, looking at the injuries, I mean, I did this earlier on in the week, and you may know sort of more of an update. Barnes, Pratt, although Pratt, it said ruled out, but he's back in training. Under Justin, Maddison and Morgan all ruled out. Perez and Evans, 50-75%. Have you got an update on that, or do you know anything about how the injuries are going? As I say, I've seen Pratt was back in training.
From what I've seen and what I heard, it was that Perez, Pratt, and Evans will all be in consideration for the squad. I'm not saying that they're all going to make the team, but I think they are all available to be picked. So that's encouraging in terms of even boosting the bench. You know, so that's an encouraging sign. We've still got, you know, Madders and Barnes who are nowhere near by the sounds of it. The Maddison one is a very strange one, because it doesn't sound like he needs an operation. It just sounds like it's painful. Now, I remember the days when footballers used to play with painkillers virtually every week. So I'm not sure what the situation with that is, but you know, we've got other players who are stepping up. Obviously, we've got Under who's missing now, and it's a real shame for Under, isn't it? Because You know, we were waiting for him to get his chance. It looked like he would get his chance when Maddison and Barnes were both out, but now he's gone down injured. So, you know, it's made opportunities for others, and I thought, you know, Tavares had a decent debut the other day against Brighton.
He didn't do anything wrong, and he did have that stinger of a shot at the goalkeeper. Talking of players, we're going to have a look in 1 second at your team. You're going to put you're going to do what Brendan hasn't been doing recently. Put a team together that's going to go out and play the opposition off the park. But we'll have a look at it, and we'll be right back after this.
Hi, Alan Smith here. Be sure to watch and listen to Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels. Up the Foxes!
You are watching and listening to the preview show on Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums.
Scott says we need to win 6 of the next 7 games to guarantee Champions League next season. Yeah, what's the problem? Easy, isn't it, Craig? But let's have a look at let's have a look. See, I'm often surprised by Brendan's decisions, but I'm a little bit surprised.
Just before we go on to that, I do want to point out, or not point out, but I do want to congratulate you on your outfit tonight, Chris, because I do recognise that kit as one of the old ones. You've gone into retro mode. You've probably gone back to when Sheffield United were a force, and I only bring it up because somebody commented, a so-called friend of mine watched recently, and they were not impressed with the shirt that I was wearing, and they said that I looked old. In fact, they actually referred to me as the Leicester Square. And so tonight, I sort of had a bath, put a nice shirt on or whatever, and then I'm still upstaged by you in your fantastic retro Eind Coupe shirt.
Well, you know me. I've got a lot of retro shirts, as you know, and I'm having to rebuy them all because I bought some of them when they originally came out, and of course they don't fit me now. That's the problem. But no, I actually put this on in awe of this guy, Mr. Linux there, but he wasn't able to come on tonight. Otherwise, I'd got the kit on for him there. But
then you're getting it off.
Excuse me there. 1980 shirt, Rob says. I don't know the exact year. I'll go with you on that. Excuse me. Let me just have a gin. Oh, that's it. So,
yeah,
I'll let you start going through this team while I just go and have a cough. So, here you go.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This week I've gone for this team, and I've had to have a little bit of a nod to Brendan because I don't like a back five really, but I think he's going to put Evans back in, but I can't see that he will drop Soyuncu or he will drop Fofana. So I think he's going to persist with this back five. What I hope is that he uses it as an opportunity to be attacking, so the fullbacks do push on. So normally I would never choose a back five, but I've gone with a back five, particularly on this one, just because I think he'll bring Evans in. I think Evans, you know, I think we're at that point where we need to start looking at a change of the old guard, as it were. But I think, you know, maybe Evans brings a little bit of experience to those two centre halves who can sometimes lose their head a little bit. So I think Brendan will stick Evans back in there, but I don't think either of them have to deserve to be dropped. And I know it's a little bit harsh on Amati that I'm dropping him out after his goal, but for me, he doesn't work going forwards, and that's why I've gone with the formation I have.
Okay, well let's just stick with the defence, because this is,
Yeah.
I kind of think, where we are probably going to disagree on this. So, and in a nice way, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. You see, you can look at the sort of team that we play, and we, like you say, it's either a 5 or a 3 at the back. To be totally honest with you, I think a 3 becomes a 5 and a 5 becomes a 3, depending whether you're going forward or coming back. We've tried that in the last few games, and I don't think we've looked solid at the back. Soyuncu hasn't looked brilliant on the left of a back 3, and Amati, he got the goal, and but apart from the goal, his performance on the edge of the back 3 on the right hand side wasn't brilliant. And I am surprised you haven't taken it back to the 4. That we seem to play better with the 4 at the back.
Well, let's just say, as I say, for this week, I have put Brendan's hat on. I think if it was to me, I mean, my first thought was that I was going to say, right, go with the team that I picked for the last game, which had Castagna and Ricardo as wide midfielders and a back 4. And to be honest, I'd be quite happy with that. But I thought it's almost pointless me putting that out there, because there's no way that he's ever going to play it. So it's a bit of a hybrid that I've gone for, really. I'd be quite happy with a back 4. I prefer a back 4, to be honest, and I think we look much more solid when we have it. The thing is, in terms of the players that we've actually got, and knowing who Brendan likes and he wants to get in the team, he is a bit of one of those managers who will try and shoehorn people in to the detriment of others, to be honest. So if you're going to play with a back 4, who's going to be the right back? He could play Castagna and he could play Luke Thomas and then move Ricardo further forward. But that also means that either one of Evans, Soyuncu and Fofana is it going to play. For me, it would be Evans. As I say, I think we should persist with the back 2 of Fofana and Soyuncu. But
I have to be honest.
There's no way.
For me, I as I say, just to put the other hat on, if you like, and look at it, play devil's advocate here. I think it is a case of a game, like we said before, that we can't afford to lose. And I would go with a strong back 4 of Ricardo, Fofana, Evans, and Castagna. To me, Soyuncu has looked the weak link at the back. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he's a rubbish player or anything like that. He has just looked weak. He's looked like a very bad contestant in the Dancing on Ice competition in the last few weeks, and Sheffield United, he's just set up for Sheffield United to beat us, isn't it? This is Leicester. But like you say, I see totally where you're coming from, because I have to accept and agree with what you say. Now you said it is that Brendan probably won't do that. But I think we would agree, Ndidi in the middle.
I think the final touch on that back 5, back 3, or whatever is that, I think Sheffield United will probably revert to type and play quite a lot of long balls. I think McBurney will play, and he's given us a bit of a torrid time, in all the games, to be honest. We've not managed to cope with him. So I think Soyuncu's the most physical of all of our centre halves. So I think him being in there gives us a little bit more strength. But anyway, Ndidi, for me, Ndidi is the only defensive midfield player we need. I hate it when he's playing with one of the others, because for me, it takes away the responsibility from Ndidi. It's almost like someone else will pick him up. When he's the only defensive midfielder there, he knows it's his job. And for me, if we've got Ricardo and Castagna pushing high and forward, he can drop and cover either side behind them. So I think indeed he has to play there. He's a rock in that position.
And definitely. And then because of the back 3 you've gone for, I can see why you've gone for that. You know, Castagna, Tavares, Tillemans, and Ricardo. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I would have been tempted because of the way that I've gone. The problem is, like you say, we are with the players we've got out. You'd have, for me, you'd have to have Tillemans in there. Probably Tavares. I don't think he particularly did a lot wrong, to be honest with you. I'd probably have Albrighton on. I'd bring Albrighton back because again, I just think he's got the experienced head. I'm not sure about the other wing. That's the only problem. I've got a gap on that wing for players that sort of. And who we got fit that could go on the wing there? And I don't know. I'd have to. I'll get back to you on that one.
Well, this is I did really struggle on the formation and getting the players in, and I was working out who I would leave out. But I think Tavares, I think he deserves another shot. I think against the Sheffield United team who are not that blessed, in the middle of the pitch. I think his ball carrying skills could come into it. I think it's a perfect game for him to get another 70 minutes under his belt, to be honest. And I think when you've then got Manchester City coming up, you've then got Manchester United, I think we've got West Ham after that, the games get a little bit tougher. So for me, if you want to try and see what the kid's got, this is the ideal game to give him another 70 minutes. And I don't think we've seen that Brendan isn't a player to rush players back, particularly in midfield. So I can't see him putting Perez or Pratt straight in. But I could see Tavares playing 65, 70 minutes and then Pratt coming on for him or Perez.
Like I say, you've got those two options. Certainly Perez for me on the wing, or of course Daley Campbell. He can play on that on the wing, can't he? But no, because of, like I say, where you've gone at the start, I can see why you've gone across the middle and up front. I mean, again, it's what we've got, isn't it? Really, but at the moment, you've got to say, Inacho, he's on fire.
He is, and I'm really pleased for him. He's had a lot of stick, but as I said, I think we have said on this program on many occasions, he's a confidence player, and when he plays with confidence, he's a fantastic player. And that finish, the pass, is the pass of the season for me from Tielemans into Iheanacho. But the composure that he showed when he realised he was slightly off balance, so he just delayed and then dinked it in the top corner. It was a fantastic finish, to be honest. And it'd be nice to see Jamie actually get one and come back from against his old foes, Sheffield United. To be honest, he really needs one to. It'd be great if he got one like a Chris Wood against Arsenal, where one just hits it. To be honest, it'd be nice to see him get on the score sheet.
He's good at that, Chris Wood. He did one of those for us, didn't he? Many.
He really got one.
I think it was against Burnley, actually. No, Watford, wasn't it? It was against Watford where they kicked it out.
Yeah, it was,
hit him and went back in. We've not said it, but I think Schmeichel in goal again is a shoe-in. Jamie, he does need to get back to goal scoring. And I know we say each week this will be the game and he likes to score against this team and blah, 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 blah. But we do need him, especially with the run of games we've got coming up. Like I say, next week it's United in the Cup, then it's Man City, then it's possibly West Ham, like you say. We need Jamie to sort of get back into form, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah. But I think what he's doing, some of his runs is creating room for Iheanacho. So, as we said before, even when he's not scoring and seemingly not doing a lot, he does make the opposition defenders worry about him, because on reputation alone, they know that they can't drop off. You see that they're looking for him. I think the goal, I think it was against Arsenal, wasn't it? When Tielemans just basically walked from the halfway line, strolled in and smashed it into the bottom corner, because the defenders were worried about where Vardy was. So he does bring that element to it. defenders can't switch off against him. So even when he's not scoring, he does bring something really important to the team.
It's that time again when I hate to say that I got it right again last week in my 2-1 prediction.
I think there was a couple of viewers got it right as well, and I got it right as well, Chris. So let's give ourselves all a pat on the back for that for once.
I will say well done, because I can never. You could say you got the last 10 right. I wouldn't know. I can't remember week in week out what you say, but well done for that. So it's hardly surprising that I am turning into you here, Craig, and in fact that I'm going for the same result every single week at the moment, purely because I can always see us conceding one, and I can't see us getting that many because of who's out and we're not on fire. But Steve Walsh has gone 3-0. Steve Lynix, he's gone 1-1. He's still playing the old, I'm not going for Leicester because when I do they lose. Marsh has gone 2-0 to Leicester, and I have gone unsurprisingly 2-1 to Leicester. So what are you? Oh, wise sage, what are you going for this week?
Well, Chris, I did agree with you last week, and it came off. So there's no way that I can let that happen again. So I'm going to go 2-0.
Indeed. Well, I'd always, whenever I do it, because I can never, the worst I'll ever go for is a draw. I'm going to be honest with you, but I think you have to look at. And that's now that we do this show on a Friday, it's probably easier for us to try and get the prediction right because we know who's going to be in the team and who's not. Yeah. But I'd love the 2-0 because we do need to improve our goal difference as well.
We do indeed. It could come down to that.
We do indeed, as they say. Craig, as always, young man, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on. As always, you make the show. Welcome. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Chris. Thanks for everybody for watching. I'll see you again soon.
And we'll see you next week. Take care, Craig, and all the best to your family. Stay safe. Cheers. Thanks to Craig there. He is the one with the knowledge. I am the one with the looks. Let's just be honest with you. I'll say that now because he's gone. Yeah. And if he's still around, he's probably not listening. Well, Sheffield United, it is on Sunday. Like I say, don't forget, guys, it is 2:00 and it's on Sky, Radio 5 Live, Radio Leicester, and lcfc.com radio, which you can get free of charge just by registering on lcfc.com. Can we do it? Can we get another win on the bounce? We got a lucky one last time. We were lucky against Sheffield United in the first game. Let's just make it a bit easier for ourselves, please. I've got a ticky heart. Please, just let's get in the lead and let's just go and win the game. We will be back on Sunday. Like I say, kickoff is at 2, so we'll be back about 1:10, me and Josh, with the pre-match show where we will be looking at the team that Brendan selects, and we'll see if it is anything like Craig's. I've got a feeling, that Craig might just have hit the nail on the head this week. If he's got it 100% right, I'll get him a beer. That's if ever lockdown's ever over, of course. And of course, then don't forget, 40 minutes after, myself, I've got to think now, Brad and Julian Watts, ex-player, will be here with the post-match show. That's about 45 minutes after kickoff. But we'll say 1:10 Sunday, we'll see you for the pre-match show. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for watching, guys. Like I say, if you want to listen to this on catch-up, we are on your favourite podcast platform, which is Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, or Google and Podcast Addict. They are the main ones that we are on. You can listen to us rather than look at us. And obviously, Leicester Till I Die TV on the old YouTube. Please remember to subscribe. I will see you on Sunday. It'll be 1:10 with Josh and the pre-match show. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Saturday. Take care and stay safe.
Hello.
Good night
Matt
now.
Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.